Right now we are going to be looking at solving. We are continuing with group data, but however we are now looking at when given class boundaries. When we're introducing group data specifically, we hinted on how to find the class interval. We talked about, then I told us how to find the class boundaries, and then I hinted on some questions where you can be given the class boundaries. However, no one is going to just tell you there plainly that the following have been given in form of class boundaries. They're usually hidden in certain tricks, and you have to be able to depict and pick out what the examiner is trying to do. So for this section, we're not going to be solving many of these numbers. The goal is going to be to give us a picture of how these questions appear. Now, when you see a question where you've been given dashes to complete like this, usually it's going to mean you've been given class boundaries. For example, for this question. However, I'm going to give us an exception so that we don't cram it like that. What am I saying? Now here the table below shows the speeds of vehicles passing a particular point. It's normal statistics question there is. But here actually once you're seeing this, that's already giving us a clue that for this specific question, we have been given that for this specific question we've been given the class boundaries. Now let me now start interpreting the data. So we have the speed in kilometers per hour. So this is 30 to something I don't know, 40 to 50 to 60, like dash to something, 70 dash, 80 dash. Then I have the frequency. And as I told you, I'm not going to solve these numbers. However, some of them I incorporated into the exercise at the end of statistics exercise that is going to try to cover most of these numbers with solutions and a few explanations. So if you're interested in doing it, you can do it in the exercise. For now, it's just to explain this concept. Now, I've told you what you see these dashes, and usually it means you've been given the class boundaries. And what's the one characteristic we know about class boundaries is that they are continuous. And usually, just get yourself used to that. Every time you're trying to decipher or interpret this, include the class column. We are going to see why. Now, so here I have 32. So since we know that if their class boundaries are supposed to be continuous, here I will say 32. We put 40 because their class boundaries, so they are supposed to be continuous. 2, here 50. 2, here 60. I hope it's making sense. 2, here 70. We're just making it continuous. You don't even have to think. So have you seen this? Now, this is where now you can't think because there is nowhere we can copy the next value. That's why you have to have the class interval column where you see this is 40 minus 30. It's 10. Remember, when we have class boundaries, we don't need to add. 50 minus 40, 10. 60 minus 50, 10. This is 10. This is 10. Hope you see I've not been guessing these numbers. I've been getting them. What is here, I put it here, such that we have it continuous because they are the class boundaries. Okay. Now, how do we determine what is going to be here? Look at what has been given. The class intervals above. From what we found out, it's the same. They are all 10. So since they are all 10, automatically this is also going to be plus 10, so 90. Does that make sense how I've gotten this? We're going to see other examples where these class intervals are not necessarily the same, and we're going to see how do we go about those specific questions. So I think after this, you see this question is very easy now to solve. Just that you don't need to have a column for class boundaries because it's already class boundaries. So when you're getting your L1, maybe after realizing this is the model class because of this highest frequency, you just pick the 50 and work out your question. Now, let me hint on something that I said I was going to talk about. Now, you can be given a number like this. Not every time where you have a dash, it means they are class boundaries. You have to be keen at what the examiner is trying to do. Look at this. Look at this. Now, see what this examiner did here. I don't know, okay, whatever, he or she. Now, they gave you 16 to 20. Then now here they have put dashes. So this one already shows you that these are not class boundaries. How? Let's draw it vertically and you see what I'm saying. 16 to 20, 21 to 26 to 31 to 36 to 40. So here, by already putting here 20 and here there's a 21, they're already discontinuous. So these already cannot be class boundaries. These are classes. Now, how do we go about this? You're going to come and say, how do I find the class interval? It's 20 minus 16. That is 4 plus 1. Because so 5. Or someone just says 21 minus 16, 5. So now you get 5, for example. You can now add 5 here, you get 25. If not, you can add 4. Because remember, when you are doing horizontally, 20 minus 60, it's 4. So you add 4 if you want to do vertically. So you add 4. This is 30. But if you're working vertically, you add 5. I hope that makes sense. It's just, so here, if I want to go like this, I add 35, add 5. If I go like this, I add 4. So you see here, we have classes, not class boundaries. Hope this makes sense. So don't just cram it that every time I have a dash, it's going to be a class boundaries. Here, the examiner want put in this to direct you on what he wanted. Okay, so now let's move on to another thing. So here now, see, this is a similar approach. So you've given 30 dash, 40 dash, 45 dash. Here, even lucky that the guy has given it to you in a vertical column already. So we just have to come and say, because there is nothing else is showing us they are not class boundaries. These are class boundaries. So I'm going to come and say this is 40. This is 45 because we want it to be continuous. This is 50. This is 65. This is 70. I have to have a column for classes. So 40 minus 30, 10. 45 minus 45. 50 minus 45, 5. 65 minus 50. I think that's 15. Yeah, that's 15. 70 minus 65, that is 5. Now here you see the class intervals are not the same, so we wonder what are we going to add here to get the last value. Now for this case, look for what's the commonest class interval. I think the trick here, look for what's the commonest class interval, and I think it's 5. So whatever is the commonest class interval is what you use for this question. So since the commonest class interval is 5, here you're going to add 5. So you're also going to make this 5. So you add 5 here, you get 75. I hope that makes sense. So for the questions where you have unequal class intervals and you've been given class boundaries, you try to find out what's the commonest class interval, and it's going to guide you. Okay, now we've looked at the other when you're given the dashes after. Now when the dash is before, it means the value is missing at before. So you are going to come here and say max. Then here the frequency. No, we don't. We're going to put the class intervals. So we're going to say to 30, dash to 40, dash to 45, to 60, to 70, to 85. Now, in this case, we're going to, since these are, we can see that these are class boundaries given, we're going to do to 70, to 60, to 45, to 40. This. Now we're going to come here and subtract. Maybe here this is 8, this is going to be 15, it's going to be 10, it's going to be 15, I think. Also it's going to be 5, it's going to be 10, and here we don't know. Now, as a rule of thumb, before we even go further, this is not going to be the exact same thing as the other one, because remember for the other time we had maybe 80 dash, and here now you don't know where you have to end. But for this case, 0 is an option because these are positive values, so meaning they can start from 0. Now if these class intervals are equal, maybe if they are all 10, we're going to just subtract 10 and say this is 20 to 30. But since they are not equal, we choose to start from 0. However, I'm going to show you when we don't start from 0. So here we just start from 0 and start. Hope this makes sense. Let's go to the next thing I showed you. Now here we have less than 20. It's the same thing. Since the less sign is before, we're going to put to 20, to 30, to 35, to 40, to 50. That space was a mistake, to 60. So here I put 50, here I put 40, put 35, put 30, we put 20. When we get the class interval, this is 10, this is 10, this is 5, this is 5, this is 10. Now, as long as these class intervals are not equal, usually we are going to put here 0. I hope this makes sense. As long as these class intervals are not equal, we're going to put here 0. However, I'm going to show us certain exception. Even here, this is to 15, to 20, to 30, to 40, to 50, to 60, to 65. Going to do the same thing to 60, 50, 40, 30, to 20, to 15. So here we put the class. This is 5, this is 10, this is 10, this is 10, 10, 5. Now, here the question is what should we put here? As long as these are not equal, we're just going to put 0. Now, I remember I was telling you guys there was an exception. Let me show it to you. Okay, now these are some examples I wanted to show us. So here we have to 110 to 120. This is what I'm. This is like the question. Then to 130 to 140. So we still feel 130, 120, 110. Then we put here the classes. This is 10, 10, 10. Then you have to subtract 10, which is 100. Now, some people usually cram it and think that every time we have something before it should be a 0. No. Here, actually, even if these were unequal class intervals, this could not be 0. We would have to look for something maybe that has the highest, the one that's occurring most, the class interval occurring most, and put, because you can imagine how are these all in 110 to 120, and this is 0 to 110. Hope that makes sense what I'm trying to say. Then even here, this is to 10 to 20 to 30 to 40. Though this was somehow very direct, but I hope you get the goal. So this is 10, 10, 10. Of course, this will also be 10. So you get what I'm trying to say. But usually we would put 0. We don't mind this being a class interval of 15. We don't mind here this being a class interval of 20, even if these are this. But the problem comes when you have a continuous or like equal class intervals. That one is automatic, just subtract. So here, in case I had all these were 10, let's say this was 10, 10, this would just subtract 10 and this would be 5 to 15. Hope that makes sense. Here, if all these were 10, I would just make this 10 to 20. Now, that's very important because there are very many questions, very many times the examiner is going to trick and put these class intervals there, and even in our exercise they are there. But however, the approach to solving the question remains the same, just that you don't have to generate class boundaries since they are already given. Yeah, that marks the end of this video. Now, thank you for following to this point.